6-0, the Cleveland Guardians, as we welcome you to Phillies Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Ricky Bottalico, Ben Davis, I'm Michael Barkann, Ruben Amaro Jr. in a moment. From this seat right here, gentlemen, all I can do, you ready? You might be surprised. All I can do is write this one off. They are coming in at 3 in the morning against a team that's off the day before, that's lying in wait, a team that's very, very good, that's got pitching, that's got hitting, as we saw. Aaron Nola doesn't have the run support, not at all. The fourth time, by the way, they've been shut out this season, and they can still win this series. So guess what? I'm giving them a pass, Ricky.
Here's the problem. They got men on base, didn't they, tonight?
Yes, they did.
So
early.
So you're going to tell me they weren't knocking them in because they got in late last night?
They were a little tired.
Yeah, let me tell you this much. Every week, there are teams that are getting in late every single night.
3 in the morning?
3 in the morning.
Against a team that's been off the next day,
Ben,
the day before?
I will tell you right now. Of course, 3, 4 in the morning.
How'd you do in those games?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember. They were tough. Not for you. But
this don't give them an excuse. They lost the game.
I'm not giving them an excuse. They played a bad game.
They got bad starting pitching today. Aaron Nola wasn't on top of his game. Made a couple really bad pitches in this game that go out of the yard. And the Phillies are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. That's why they lost the game. If you think they were so tired, why did they play so well defensively then?
They played because the balls were hit right to them. They just had to lift their glove up right there. Ben, what do you think?
They got out-pitched. They got out-hit. I don't know any other way to say it. That's the bottom line. They did not swing the bats well. A lot of strikeouts, which is something they did not do in Tampa. And Gavin Williams kept him off base. And it was one of those things. He went 5 innings through, 98 pitches in 5 innings to Gavin Williams. And he just had their number tonight, and that's the way it goes.
Let's go
to the cookie crumbles.
Let's go to the former general manager, the former Guardian himself, the pride of Philadelphia, for the crossover presented by Chapman Auto Stores, Ruben Amaro Jr. Ruben,
I was not a Guardian. I was not a Guardian.
You were an Indian, I understand.
I was an Indian.
But it ended with an IANS. So there you go.
Okay.
You were part of the organization. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't mean to seem too glib, Ruby, but the fact of the matter is sometimes you get knocked around like they did tonight. I am concerned about Aaron Nola and his battery mate this evening. We'll get to that in a moment. But what Ricky said is true. Plenty of teams get in at 3 in the morning. Plenty of teams have no rest against a team that was off the day before. What did you think of this one?
Well, I mean, obviously they didn't come up with the big base hit when they had to. And I think the game probably would have gone a little differently had they scored a run early. And unfortunately, they got the first 2 guys on. They moved them over, man on second and third, and they went punch out to end that inning, and unfortunately couldn't score after that. But I have a feeling that the game would have been a little bit different had they scored at least 1 run in that first inning. Couldn't get it done, and then Aaron Nola wasn't quite as sharp as he had been in the last 2 outings. Left some pitches in the middle of the zone. His first couple innings, he actually threw the ball pretty well. Saw some pretty good action on some change-ups and such. But he left the fastball out over the middle on Manzardo, and then he went deep on him.
Manzardo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manzardo hit that ball.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Hey, Ruben, I mean, talking of Aaron Nola, 18 for 23 first pitch strikes. So he could find the zone early on. I mean, his problems came later on in the counts.
Yeah, I think he just didn't have, like, the put-away breaking ball. He threw a couple of those pretty good front door sinkers. Probably didn't throw enough of those. But I know that he threw some pretty darn good changeups. Got one on Ramirez that was an outstanding changeup. That's a pitch that he really needs to have. But when you don't get the run support and you have to pitch like you feel like you have to throw up nothing but zeros all the time, it does make it a little bit more difficult. And you got to give the Guardians some credit. I mean, they put together some really good bats against him and made him work.
Yeah, speaking of that lineup, Ruben, this is a pretty underrated lineup. I know we talked about Jose Ramirez before the game, but there's some guys, I think it's just because they are in Cleveland. Some of these guys can really swing the bat.
They can. I mean, Stephen Kwan's one of the best hitters in the game. I mean, as far as eye-hand coordination, putting pressure on the defense with his speed, he can do a lot of things. But there's some young players getting opportunities to play. It's a team that, when they're not necessarily household names. They have Carlos Santana sort of stabilizes them in the middle of the lineup with some power and the fact that he can switch hit. But it's a good team, and it's well managed, and these guys play good baseball, and that's the reason why they win games. Their run differential is in the negatives, and yet they're still, 8 games above 500. So they're playing the game right when they're doing, have that kind of record when the actual numbers aren't that great.
Ruby, Ricky and Ben and I discussed this in the pregame program, and that is Aaron Nola's ERA with JT Realmuto catching 2.49. If you triple that ERA, you get 7.47, which is what it was with Rafael Marchand going into tonight's game. It's actually down a smidge to 7.40. Why would you continue to do that when you know, just by the numbers being as extreme as they seem, that it's not going to turn out well with this battery?
I think it's just kind of luck of the draw. I don't necessarily think it's because of Marchand being behind the plate, because Aaron Nola, as prepared a pitcher as there is, he works on his own stuff to make sure that he knows how to attack certain hitters. Sometimes he just doesn't have the same stuff that he's had in other outings when JT's been behind the plate. I think it's more luck of the draw than anything else, and is it possible that he doesn't feel comfortable with him? It is possible, but I don't think that that's the reason why Aaron Nola has struggled when at times during the course of this year. All
right, I'll give that to you. I still think when you look at the numbers, I'm not blaming one or the other in particular. I'm just saying the combination of both, and the numbers with JT Realmuto would seem to indicate I know one guy, as Ben said in pregame, Marchand's got to catch too and give JT a spell, but they're just so disparate that you would think, okay, when Nola's pitching, let's just put JT. But I hear what you're saying. All right, my friend, we'll check you tomorrow. Get to sleep early. No 3 in the morning, okay? I want you to get to sleep.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Get ready to be in the booth.
Thank you for worrying about my well-being.
I am. I'm very
kind
concerned.
man.
Very well, I try. All right, buddy. Talk to you tomorrow. Thanks so much. Ruben Amaro Jr. in the booth in Cleveland. And what are you looking at me like?
Nothing. I thought something that he said is very interesting in the fact that you keep wanting to push this Marchand thing. And the one thing that Ruben did say is that he may not have the same stuff every day. Okay, so every 5th day he's going out there, he may be missing something, a component, a curveball. Maybe it's a changeup today that he doesn't have. Now, this is why it's tough on Aaron Nola in that sense, is that if Zach Wheeler is off, he's off a mile an hour or so. He's still throwing 95 miles an hour. Aaron Nola off a mile or two, and where is he? He's sitting in the 80s. Right. You know what that means, and you could ask Ben, it's easier to pick up different pitches if they're throwing in the 80s rather than mid to high 90s.
Yeah, and to your point,
when Nola's missing something, he's going to get hit around a little bit.
And Bennett said in the pregame show, look, the bottom line is the pitcher decides what he's going to throw. And even if that is the case, when you look at an ERA that's pushing 7.5 versus 2.5, that's I don't care if it happens to other batteries in baseball as well. I'd get those two apart.
You make bad pitches in the big leagues, they're going to get hit, and especially to a lineup like the Cleveland Guardians. That's the bottom line. You elevate the baseball in that ballpark, especially to right field, you're going to get hit, and that's what happened today. And it's something that, unfortunately, I think it's very coincidental, the fact that it's happened with Marchand in these starts. And I know that the ERAs are drastically different, but Aaron Nola hasn't had the same stuff that he has had in years past, and he'll be the first one to tell you that.
All right, Rob Thompson now post-game about this shutout loss.
Fourth inning, you feel like you kind of just maybe let him up off the ropes there?
Yeah, you got to give their guy credit. He settled in, and we got out of the zone a little bit with runners in scoring position. But we did have some opportunities. And, we 88 pitches after 4 innings, so that tells you a little bit something. But yeah, it's unfortunate we couldn't shut a couple runs across there.
You guys have used your speed a lot lately. I think Trey was trying to get something going there. Was that kind of the idea? Just maybe make something happen on the strike him out, throw him out.
Well, really put him in motion just to stay out of the double play, and that was. I thought maybe the pitch was a little bit up, but probably too close to take. So, yeah.
What did you think of Nola?
I thought he was good. I think he was better than his line. I know he gave up the first home run. That was well struck. The second in the 5th, leadoff walk. kind of taboo. But the home run, I didn't think it was going out. It just kind of backspun out. I didn't think it was hit all that hard. Then after that, there was 2 infield singles and a ball that went through the 3-4 hole. So and he was really efficient until the 4th inning. So I thought he was okay. I think it was a little bit of tough luck in the 5th.
How tough can it be to go against a lineup like that? It's kind of pesky, like you said, like infield singles, just putting the ball where they aren't.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be able to handle that. I thought we're aware of what they can do. They like to move people and bunt and run and do all that stuff. But you have to be able to play clean baseball. And I thought our defense was pretty good. Castellanos throws a guy out at third base. Kepler makes a couple of really good plays. Trey made a backhand play that was really good. So, go to sleep and come back tomorrow, get your rest, come back tomorrow and go get them.
Cool. Thank you.
Is Nola's ERA with Marchand catching something you put a lot of stock in? Nothing. It's 3 times higher than his ERA with JT catching?
Nothing. Marchand does his homework. He does a great job. He's a smart kid.